The following is presented by the Cheeky Bastards.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfuckers, and welcome to the 20th edition of Dropping of Bruce, the monthly podcast where we watch every single one of Bruce Willis's 40 straight-to-demand releases from his acting career to see if he took the role for a paycheck and dropped a deuce, or if, in fact, he took the role and gave it his all and dropped a Bruce. I am the notorious Scott K.
And my name is Mr. Smith.
And together, we will be your hapless stewards on this 40-month journey through the lesser-known movies of Mr. Bruce Willis's filmography. This month's stop finds us numb to life, love, and happiness as we review 2022's action thriller, Gasoline Alley. Ooh. Well, Mr. Smith, this is our first Drake without Corey Large as his writing partner film, and our second straight film from him. And without getting too deep into it, the absence of Large is felt in the character dialogue, but what we lack in that department, Drake makes up for in brutality in the film's finale. Not sure if either is a good thing. Your brief initial thoughts on this, and why the fuck is it called Gasoline Alley? Are we just gonna name anything we want now? We don't even have reasons. Last month it was American Siege. We were just in America. There wasn't a siege. There's no gasoline. It's not an alley. It seems like that should be an important thing.
Well, look, you said it before I did, that the absence of Corey Large as a writer is felt immensely in this movie. It's called Gasoline Alley because that's the name of main character's
No, I know, but that's pointless.
No, but it's a cool name.
Which we spent 5 seconds.
Yeah, but it's a cool name.
It's a cool name.
That's why it's called that.
We'll get into his tattoo and the aesthetics of it in a little bit. I actually think this is exactly what we've talked about. This is the hat convention thing. Someone was like, "Hey, I got a great name." For a movie, Gasoline. Yeah. How are we gonna work that in? I don't make it a tattoo part or something like that. I don't know. Just make it the name. All right, over here, go fuck yourself.
No, I can't argue. But that is, at least that relates to something in the movie. But it's just a cool name, as you said. It's the hat convention in July situation for fans of for all the fans of Hudson Hawk out there. You know what we're talking about.
Well, before we illegally investigate a series of murders that we've been implicated in because we're a shitty tattoo artist and have nothing better to do, it is time for our...
What you talking about, Willis?
Just the facts, man. Just the facts.
This film was released in 2022, written by Edward Drake and Tom Sergio, and directed by Edward Drake, starring Devon Sawa, Bruce Willis, Luke Wilson, Kat Foster, Suf Bradshaw, Johnny Dowers, Rick Solomon, Kenny Wormald, Ash Adams, Irina Antonenko, Carrington Durham, Vernon Davis, and Tracy Curry, with a running time of 97 minutes. It was made on a budget of $10 million and grossed $32,000 at the box office. It holds a 3.9 rating on IMDb with a 23 critics and 86 audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. A man implicated in the triple homicide of 3 Hollywood starlets begins his own investigation. Needing assistance, he enlisted 2 detectives on his tail in order to expose a conspiracy more explosive than any of them imagined. Saban Films and Highland Film Group presents Gasoline Alley.
What's your name?
Star.
We need to talk to you about the 4 dead girls.
You ever seen these girls before?
My suspect?
That's yours, right?
The lighter, it was found at the crime scene. We got motive, we got access.
Cops wanted to confirm you were on your way to see me last night. The bald one. He thought I'd be all bent about you flirting with those poor girls.
Why don't you tell me who you think's involved?
I had nothing to do with it. I got someone trying to pin a bunch of murders on me.
In broad daylight?
I'm not going back inside, especially not for something I didn't do. What am I into?
Show business, son.
I don't think you're involved in this any more than somebody wants you to be.
That source I told you about when she was abducted.
I told you to be ready.
Mr. fucking Willis plays Detective Bill Freeman, a dirty cop who runs a drug and sex trafficking organization, or at least I think he's been told that's what he does, because he doesn't really know he's in this movie.
Yeah.
This is our 14th of 26 straight-to-demand releases that he did over the last 5 years of his career, and this is the second of a long 12 straight-to-demand releases from the glory years of America from 2022. Now, once again, it is time for us to impart to you the soon-to-be-released in 2026, at the end of that year, the Arrow box set of all 40 Bruce Willis STDs. Here's the blurb that will be on the back of this special edition 4K Dolby Surround Sound THX audio. Finger in your ass while you're watching edition. Now, for reasons no one can explain, a local and shitty tattoo artist is framed for brutally murdering 4 girls because they're shitty drug mules or they shit on the carpet or something. It's not really clear why they were murdered or why he was framed, but it all makes sense to the local detective who is secretly running a drug business and sex trafficking operation because that's the latest crime trope for today's B-movie crime films. The detective doesn't know what's going on and doesn't even know if he's in the film. I give you Gasoline Alley, which is the name of the tattoo parlor and has absolutely nothing to do with the plot of this film.
True. You put it well.
Well, we've landed on Gasoline Alley, and before we get into our discussion, there's a small amount of info. It's not a lot. Some of it is some of the more bizarre, and I actually think some of the info put on their IMDb page was actually added by members of the film or family members of the people who made the movie. And you'll see what I'm saying. Now, this movie, shock to no one, was filmed in Tifton, Georgia over 11 days. In a piece of trivia no one asked for and was probably added to IMDb by the person it's about, this is Kenny Warmald's first role in about 5 years, as he had his first child and was teaching dance at his dance studio, The Playground, in LA. That's what's on IMDb. So there you go. Oh, did we mention Kenny is the cousin of producer and Steve's side piece, Corey Large.
God damn.
And in a brilliant bit of info, the film's IMDb page, some genius figured out that Edward Drake, the film's director, last directed American Siege and Apex before this film, and that Edward Drake, the film's writer, last wrote American Siege and Apex, and that both films star Bruce Willis.
Well, that's...
If the IMDb page is any indication of what the movie's like, you know you're in for a good ride.
Yeah.
Now, there were a few positive reviews at first. Carissa Pavlik of TV Fanatics writes, "Get the popcorn out and dive into Drake's vision. It might surprise you." While Douglas Davison of Elements of Madness proclaims, "There's more meat on this particular bone than one might expect," prompting a few surprises and quite a bit of depth to the narrative. However, Tom Meek of Cambridge Day exclaims, "Bruce Willis and writer-director Edward Drake released their 4th crime drama turd within 12 months. Lisa Giles-Getty of Hey You Guys wrote, "Sawa and Wilson are excellent but are let down by a Bruce Willis-shaped black hole which, when combined with an uneven and patchy script, let down the whole endeavor." Fred Switek of One Guy's Opinion opines, "When Willis intones toward the close, it wasn't supposed to end like this. Perhaps he was thinking of his career." And lastly, Chris on Letterboxd proclaims, "Okay, I can forgive my wife for constantly saying she would leave me for Devon Sawa if given the opportunity, but her making me watch this, unforgivable." So I like that one.
Well, if I could just say
Please,
one thing.
please add another IMDb classic for us if you could.
But Devon Sawa is fucking great, and
Yes.
He looks a lot like Steve McQueen, man. That's all I kept thinking.
I can see where you could draw that as a modern day look for him. Yeah.
Well, I think he looked a lot more like Steve McQueen than Damian Lewis in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but that's a whole nother story.
That is very fair, but he doesn't have the acting cachet as Damian Lewis. That's probably why he
maybe, but hey.
I mean, when you're in this kind of movie,
well, no, but I
I'm
mean,
just saying.
Tarantino wouldn't normally be wanting to let that get in the way.
This is true.
But any old road, anyway. Yeah. So Luke Wilson, we've got Luke Wilson.
I enjoy
in this.
him. Luke Wilson is. How's this? Luke Wilson is better when he's not paired with Bruce. When he's paired with Bruce, he seems out of place because he's doing some stuff, and Bruce seems to be playing this very "I didn't know I was on this movie" type of role. Like, let's be honest, folks. Bruce Willis is in this. If 5 minutes, that's saying
lucky.
a lot.
Or unlucky. Depends
He's
how
in
you
this
look at it.
maybe 5 minutes. He maybe says 7 lines of dialogue. I probably should have counted. If I had known that was going to be the ways, I would have sat there and counted the lines of dialogue he had, and then I could have had a better fate. But I didn't know he was going to be in it.
Yeah,
there's a whole fucking short.
There's a whole lot of yes and okays and all rights, and that's the level of dialogue we're getting from Mr. Willis in this movie.
You know, we're at a point now where we already know what he has. But if we didn't, you're watching these movies, and there's got to be an alarm going off in your head going, I do think there's something wrong with Bruce Willis. Because I've seen some popular actors maybe find themselves into these geezer teasers, as they call them now. And, you know, probably they're just getting a paycheck. You know, you've got like Robert De Niro was in one where like he's chasing down John Travolta in the woods or some bullshit, some terrible one. And you can just tell they're just, you know, ad-libbing their way through. It's not really giving a shit.
They're just phoning it in.
Perfectly fine, whatever. They phoned it in. But you can tell they're phoning it in because you can still tell that they have their mental faculties. And in these last couple, you can tell that Bruce Willis really sometimes you don't know that he knows he's in a movie. It sometimes looks like you've startled him and he is just saying words that he just wanted to say. Like he's having a conversation with the people that aren't there. He looks lost, like he's almost trying to fake acting. There's a scene we're going to get into in a second where they walk into the crime scene, but he walks in, he's kind of like looking at the wall.
But yeah, he's just wheeled in.
He's not Bruce Willis anymore. Like I think we know that, but if you didn't know he had aphasia, there would be a part of you be going, something is actually wrong with Bruce Willis. Like he does not look mentally there. If this was a family member, you would start to get very worried. You would start to go, I don't think Dad is doing well. Something's wrong with Dad. His eyes are floating.
Yeah. This might be the first time, really, the first one. How am I going to put it? This is the worst yet in that respect.
Yeah. And he's only in 5 minutes.
And he's barely in it. And he literally just agrees with what other people are saying in this. Namely Luke Wilson. There's just a lot of yeahs and yeah, and
Well, when he does have his little moment at the end, he just yells. He's like, make sure I get paid. You know, sorry, I almost sound like Trump. He kind of does sound a little bit like just Trump when he yells things. Like, make sure I get paid. Like, you're kind of like, who are you yelling at? The guy's right next to you. Yeah, he's not very good. He yells his lines when it is the end. Honestly, there was a moment in the film. He's gone so long at one part of the film, I actually forgot he was in the film. I really did. I forgot we were watching this for this. And I thought, why am I still watching this B movie? What am I doing to myself?
Well, usually when someone's bad in a movie, you know, they're giving a bad performance. And he can't even say a word authentically. And because as we've said, the majority of his dialogue in this movie is just one word here and there, and he can't even convincingly do that. This would be quite puzzling if you didn't know what was going on.
Yeah,
you would be thinking,
you would have to start to question.
Why is he just standing there looking bewildered?
Yes, great word, bewildered, because he looks like he doesn't know what's happening. But he's trying. Like, you can tell there's a part of his brain that's saying, you got to try for something. And he's just like, how's this face look? And he's just like, nope, that's not the reaction we're looking for. The basis of this film, it wants to be Drive in a weird way. Like, it wants to be a bit of a Drive movie, but the guy, at least in Drive, Gosling doesn't say much. This guy doesn't shut the fuck up. So that's not going to work out. Once again, we have really found ourselves in these plot for plot's sake. Like, it makes no sense. Our main guy, who is a really great performance from Sawa. He was good. I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from him.
No.
I can't take away something he did because he's just doing what the script tells him to do. So, you know.
Yeah, but I would say the difference between Wilson and Sawa is treating this like this is a $20 million movie.
What is he's deleting it?
He's being a fucking professional. Luke Wilson's kind of phoning it in too, really. Basically, Luke Wilson knows he's in a piece of shit, and he's just delivering the least that he needs. He's just delivering
even that, he's still good. Even that, he's just doing.
He's okay.
Well, because it's ridiculous. He's a detective. Willis is a detective, and the guy doing all the detective work is a fucking tattoo artist who.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, I'm not.
Who he doesn't do much. He has a shop named Gasoline Alley. The decor in this make no fucking sense for a man's tattoo shop. No one else besides him works there, and he only works there when he wants to. So I don't know how he makes money. He's got like go-go boots and pink flamingos on like shelves. Like, whose shop is this? Is this a lady's shop? He has one woman in there to start the movie. We get some top boob. Ooh, the raciest we've had so
far. The only
far.
people we see him tattooing are women, to be fair. So,
well, he's going to tattoo a woman's breasts. who's a lesbian. It doesn't matter, but that was the thing she had to say.
That's to give her some depth.
Yeah, exactly. Gets interrupted, and then the next person he tattoos is some jerk off who's on a TV show, which I'll give him a nice nod. The TV show's name is American Siege. I'm thinking, well, and the funny thing is, I put down, sadly, more action in the fake film and the fake TV show than the actual film we're watching. So he tattoos this guy some number, the number 117, because that was like the amount of millions of people watched the show the week before, whatever. And so when he comes out with the tattoo and he shows it, it looks like they got a kid in middle school to take ink on a pen and draw it on his arm. So if that's how good a tattoo person he is, he's a dog shit tattoo artist. So he's at a bar because, again, he goes to this bar for sentimental value because I guess when he was a kid, while his mom was turning tricks, that's where he went, but also his dad's a former cop. It's like a stocking full of shit you don't want. You're like, why would the dad, as a cop, allow his wife, the mother of his child, to be out selling her ass on the streets where everyone's going to know this and bring her son on? You're like, we're really trying to fit a whole bunch of bullshit into this guy's story and make us feel like, oh, I feel bad for the guy. Now, it didn't work. So he runs into some girls and then they end up dead. And he's the prime suspect. And when they show up at this college dorm they rented from somebody to put this in, it looks like they're found at
Hannibal Lecter's place.
motel.
But it looks like Hannibal Lecter's been there.
But it's a motel, but they're stored in the beer cooler. I'm like, what hotel has this many kegs? But they're in a keg room, and now there is blood. If an elephant jerked off and its cum was blood, that's kind of what it would look. It was just everywhere, just sprayed everywhere, right? Yet the girls, the way that they were laying there, they didn't have the injuries or the wounds that would make you think that this kind of blood spray was everywhere. And then, my favorite part is Luke Wilson later tells them how they were killed. They were all had their necks broke. Well, then why is all this blood everywhere? We snapped their necks and lay them, and now there's blood. Like, well, how did that happen?
Yeah.
How is there this much carnage, but yet all they died from was broken necks?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, when you see that short scene of all the bodies, I thought, oh, so this is like some, what's that other movie with Megan Fox in it, the Switchgrass?
Oh, yeah,
Midnight in the Switch.
Midnight in the Switchgrass.
I thought we were dealing with some serial killer vibe here. Because like you say, that's a massacre of these dead.
It looks like a massacre, but I actually think someone else was killed there a long time ago, and they never cleaned it up, and they just dragged these bitches in there and laid them there. Who, by the way, they did the best acting, started the best acting, pretending they were dead. They actually looked pretty realistic.
I was on when she was talking. I don't know what the fuck she was saying, but then I barely know what women are saying. But anyway.
Explain to us again your single, just one more time. Let's go through that quick.
But I get that, Devon Sawa's character, Jimmy Jane. All they've got on him is the lighter that he left behind.
Well, in the end, we find out he gave.
Well, I know, but at least they tie up. What I'm saying is that's why he's not been arrested, is because that's the flimsiest of. But he wants to get to the bottom of it, which I appreciate. And as you said, he does far more detective work than anyone else in the fucking movie.
It's a 1980s trope where only one man can do the job.
Yeah, I mean,
the rest of the cops are bumbling around.
I like movies like that. But this is like, this is sort of like me and you. We're going to make a movie, but we had no resources. Like you've got a car.
Well, I mean, the movie opens up looking good.
Oh no,
right? Like
it's
the movie
shot
did.
well.
I was like, this looks really good.
It's kind of got that. It's kind of stylistic, like hyper sort of stylistic vibe to it. But that's all they had. What I'm saying is, if you had a car and we could use someone's store at the weekends, and then everyone else was members of our family, that's kind of the movie that they've got here.
Exactly what it was.
They didn't really have much at their disposal. Stylistically, they do a few cool things here and there. I would point out the car chase Jimmy Jane has is the slowest car chase I think I've ever seen.
It's still quicker than the one we had. You're forgetting the one where they're driving up the side and they show the speed and he goes from 20 to 30. You're like, oh my God, they're taking the governor off. This is street racing now.
Yeah, so
yeah, there are some pretty slow fucking car chases.
This is less a whodunit, more of a who gives a fuck who done
a why done it. Exactly. I was like, why would you do this? You got to think though, like Luke Wilson's sitting there reading this, and maybe why he's kind of doing his best. Just hey, I'm just Luke Wilson, but he's got to be like, so let me get this straight. I got to say these lines to this guy.
Yeah.
So we walk in. Bruce and I walk into this murder, blood everywhere, and their necks are broken. And I got to pretend that got it. And also he says, I'm the top cop in robbery, whatever. I'm like, but you're not in homicide. I was like, why are you even on this case? I don't know that Corey Large is the missing piece. Oh, he's the missing piece for the good.
We know he is.
Humorous
But
dialogue.
when he says I'm Robert,
We get a few things, but we really don't get the plot that makes no sense. I guess there's some big Hollywood guy who, I don't know, he just runs porn and also maybe drugs, and then the cops are involved with this. And Jimmy Jane here, double J squared over there, JJ Jr., he goes to this party, shows up, walks in. There's a black man blindfolded playing saxophone. He walks in, grabs a drink from this buffet table. There's a bunch of, I guess, maybe call girls standing there, almost as if they are hostages, with a couple of old guys sitting on couches. No one talking or doing anything, but there's this black man blindfolded playing saxophone. He takes a drink, walks in, walks past another guy who's sitting there smoking, look like he's getting head, but looks as if it's the most boring head he's ever gotten in his life. Jimmy Jane walks right past him so that he can do this shot standing by a pool because they rented this guy's house, and they'll be damned if they're not going to get their shot by the pool. And he stands there by the pool, looking out into the sky, and if you could tell me why he did any of those things, I will give you $100 because it makes no fucking sense, and I don't know what the direction was or what the point was or why the scene was there. He just goes up by the pool for a few minutes and then he comes back inside.
When he's looking up to the sky,
he's asking God to kill him. I'm sorry, what have I done to disappoint you? Please.
he's looking at the stars, right? Yeah, because of the girl who says, "If you can't remember my name, just look up." So that's that.
Well, look,
this is operating on too
conclusion.
deep a level for you, obviously. If you can't.
I'm sorry, this is Shakespearean. I do apologize. So if this doesn't get a criterion.
I did just make that up, though. So, but there's something about a tunnel from San Diego to Tijuana. How long is that motherfucking tunnel?
How short is that tunnel? Because they traverse it quickly. And why is there nothing but white guys running from the other end? And where'd they get the black gentleman with the throat cancer to be the Dr.
How long would a tunnel have to be
Feelgood?
from San Diego to Tijuana?
Quite a while.
Exactly.
Quite
and they've
a
got
ways.
like 4 bags, but they've got like 4 bags of Coke on the table, so they're not exactly big time.
I'll give them this. This is better than when we saw American Siege, where the guy goes in a house.
I know
next
where
thing
you're
you know,
going with this. I know.
He's in a sub basement, but it's actually a warehouse, and you can see daylight in the sky. At least when they do this, whoever did it, they use these coolers, these freezers, as that's where the tunnel is. So when they lift the top, the prop department, whoever dressed it, they just took a small ladder, probably cut it at a certain point, and put it inside this, and smartly had Bruce step on the ladder, and then we just cut away to them in the tunnel. Smartly done. Because, look, we all know it's not going anywhere. Like, Bruce stepped in, someone helped him out, he didn't know where he was. They said, Bruce, you're here. He goes, I thought I was in a cooler. What am I, some salmon? Sorry, going on my own diatribe. Having my own aphasia moment. But I was appreciative. I was sitting there going, all right, you know what? That's how you hide it. That is the smart thing where our mind will connect the pieces and you hit it well, as opposed to making us think you walk down someone's living room hallway and next thing you know, we're in an underground giant space that doesn't make sense for the property you're on.
I mean, this is movie magic. This is Hollywood. This is how it works. I did like this. There's the gimp, the guy dressed.
There's a gimp because they go to the porn place. This is all the bad tropes you could think of. They threw into this movie.
Going back to when they kill the girls. I'm assuming they just kill the girls when they're fed up with them, or
so. This is why the plot's all over the place. The ending I didn't hate. There was finally some action and it got a little brutal, and I was like, okay, we upped it a little bit. There was a couple of simulated sex scenes where we knew that these people were having sex and we're kind of tongue in cheek about it, but we didn't see them. It was almost like this was going to be watched by your grandparents on television, but. It is so boring for most of the movie. Last month, you were talking about how you fell asleep during American Siege. I started nodding off in the middle of the afternoon yesterday watching this from the beginning. I was so fucking bored by it because it didn't know what it was, but it's trying to be this investigation, and they're making up the pieces as they go along. And so these girls, the reason the girls were killed is they were supposedly bad drug mules or something, or they were complaining about something. Like, it didn't make sense. So they just killed the 4 girls, and then they had to pin it on somebody. They didn't have to pin it on anybody. That's the thing. They could have killed those 4 girls, put them in a thing, and then that'd have been it, and no one would have known. I mean, honestly, they were street girls, right? So, and they're probably from overseas. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I'm saying in the mind of the movie. And in the reality of the world, people like this happen all the time. If those girls have been killed and left somewhere, or how about this? You take them to Tijuana. I mean, why am I coming up with this sitting here in my fucking pajamas, basically? What the fuck? It's not that hard. Like, this is why these movies don't make sense for us, is because they're making a movie just to make a movie, but they have no idea what their movie is even about. It looks like they cobble it together as they go along. They're like, hey, we got Bruce, this is Bruce's 27th movie. He's got to do it for us. And I guess Luke Wilson was on vacation in Georgia. He was like, whatever.
Well, I have learned now that when I'm gonna watch one of these movies, I make sure I do it in the morning, because otherwise this is a slog. But let's get back to Devon Sawa as Jimmy Jane, who's like this badass kind of.
I think he likes it because the last name is Jane. It's not Thomas. He's like Jimmy and Thomas. They're brothers.
No, but he's the shining light of the movie. He's what keeps you invested. I'll use the term loosely, but he's doing a great job.
He's really carrying out the tough guy part. I would agree.
Well, he's probably like, he obviously kind of made his name in a couple of like early 90s movies like Final Destination and some other was it Idle Hands he was in, or something like that. Yeah, he's been in a few finals. He's in, there's a movie I called a piece of shit on the Men of Action, Heart Eyes, last month. So he's in that. He's in Idle Hands. There's a really good fit. I know this is not a tangent, but there's a really good movie called Hunter x Hunter. Came out in 2020. And he's great. He's great in that, and that actually is a decent movie.
He's also in Little Giants. That was one of his first. He was in Casper.
Yeah, I mean, he was in one of the Escape Plan movies with Stallone.
Yeah, he's in Final Destination. He was in Slackers.
He's had a kind of up and down career.
His adult career has definitely not been what he wants it to be, for sure.
You're absolutely right. But he's like, he's the consummate professional, and he goes all out in this. And like I said earlier, all I could think of, man, was like, you look like fucking Steve McQueen. He's like this badass motorbike collecting, muscle car driving kind of tough guy. But he's down on his luck, though. You kind of like the guy. I think that's fair to say. He's what keeps you going. It's not Luke Wilson. It's certainly not Bruce Willis.
Bruce who?
Exactly.
He's in this film.
And man, I've got to address this. Woman in it who was brutal to look at, and that's a really horrible thing to say.
Wow. All right. Who is it?
The black woman, the singer.
Yeah, I know.
She plays Eleanor. Because I think she was dubbed as well. Because I was looking and I'm thinking.
Oh, you mean the singing part? Yeah, it was weird. That was a weird part when she's like in the studio and you can tell she's just mouthing words.
No, but they have a sit down, don't they? But that's not a bad moment, actually. That's not a bad scene.
No,
that's one of the best
not.
sort of acting scenes in the movie. But I'm watching it and I'm thinking, you've been dubbed over. I didn't know if she's just done it again in post or what, but I was watching this and I'm thinking, either that's not your voice or you've just badly synced this up.
Yeah,
that's one of the better scenes of the movie. I mean, the beginning with Jimmy and Star is good.
I enjoy a gentleman named Billy Jack Harlow as Roy. He's the mechanic who also gives him the gun. I think he's doing one of the best acting jobs in the film. I was like, this is an authentic dude. I don't know what he's been in before. I probably should have checked it, but I liked him. And I was hoping he was going to be in more of the film. I was hoping he was going to suddenly become like a side character or like a side,
like it's kind of.
I mean, he's really good. He plays a mechanic on set of this TV show. He ends up being this really cool dude. And at first you just think of some guy they bring over and they're going to get in a fight and it's going to be something dumb, but he actually is acting his ass off. I'm like, how about this? He's better than Luke Wilson and Bruce Willis.
Yeah, well, he's kind of going back to what you said about Drive. He's like the Bryan Cranston. You think he might end up being the Bryan Cranston character.
Yes. And I was hoping. Yes, he was really
me
good.
Too. I was hoping too, but that didn't. Nothing came of that.
No, he's in it for like 5-7 minutes, and then it's like in this middle part, and then he's just gone. They never bring him back.
I don't know what they had with that guy.
Again, this is one of those movies. That's probably.
There is a really bad fight sequence with Frank Flosso in the tattoo parlor. That's a pretty bad fight scene.
Oh, it is really bad.
That's just clearly.
Especially when he kicks him through the glass.
That was
Did
cool.
the glass almost break before he went through it, though? I know, but when he goes through it, I thought the glass broke just before he hit it.
Possibly. Ash Adams is the actor, but he's done nothing else. But Frank Flosso, the fight they have in the tattoo parlor, I feel was like completely improvised and not choreographed at all, and they're just literally throwing each other around the room. And then when he shoots him through the fucking whatever he does, no, he doesn't shoot him, does he? Kicks him. He kicks him through the glass door. That was a cool moment. But again, we're clutching. You know, we're reaching. We're reaching here.
We're digging for
good
anything,
moments, of which there are very, very few.
It's a thriller without any thrills.
Yes.
The ending. It picks up at the end.
That was decent in the tunnel.
The problem is, though, is we walk through this entire film and we're just like, what is happening? Like, why is any of this happening? And even when they try to tie it together, it's like they're trying to combine all these things. Like, they go to that one house party and it makes no sense. Like, he just sees Bruce there at the club, at this party. And you're like, oh, okay, well, cops go. They're like, breadcrumbs. We know that Bruce is the bad guy. And you're kind of like, but that doesn't even seal it for me. Like, it was just such bullshit. Then at the end, after the fight, he takes the guy that, because as you do, they leave him in the car in the driver's seat of the police wagon. So while they're doing some investigation of something, I don't know, holding their dicks in the street, he's sitting there talking to the guy, and they make a deal. If you show me where they are, I'll let you go. All right. And then he steals the police car. Mind you, Jimmy Jane has broken 0 laws until he does the investigation. Then he breaks like 1,000 laws, and he should be in prison. Like, he murders people. Like, he steals cop cars. He involves himself in investigations. He should have been arrested.
Yeah, can you remember in the Men of Action podcast where we were talking about Taken 3? And I said that they're letting Liam Neeson do the investigation.
Yeah. But they knew Liam Neeson was a CIA guy.
These guy's a tattoo
artist. Yeah, you know what? We got nothing else to do here in Tifton, George. Let's let this guy fucking run the show.
Yeah, so, you can be like, well, Liam Neeson can operate. He's got better skills than us and can operate outside the law, so let's just follow him. Whereas in this movie, it's like a robbery and fucking homicide cop saying, we'll just follow this fucking loser. Because he's a loser, that's the point, right?
Oh, he is clearly a loser.
Well, his character is a down on his luck character, and he's an ex-con, obviously.
Ex-con who can't tattoo for shit.
There's a lot of tattooers who can't tattoo for shit, so that's realistic.
That's the most realistic
part of the movie.
Very true. He does smash the guy's head into the door, which was good. That's when it kicks off, right? That's the best part of the film is he takes the guy he said he was going to let loose, who finds out killed Star, so he smashes his head into the thing. We don't actually see that, but we do get to see this nice blood splash on it, which is good, and it wasn't CGI. I was like, okay. Shit. And then he goes into this tunnel. Only problem with the tunnel scene is he walks too cavalier through it. He walks through there like he knows he's not going to get shot. You're walking in a tunnel where there are other men armed, and you're just walking through like the tunnel. 2, like you have no choice of like I'm going to kill everybody here.
Well, what I did like was because he's got like a 6-shooter, right? He kills the first guy and then picks up his fucking machine. Because there's so many movies where they don't do that, and you're like,
or how about the one we watched where the siege at the dam where he would kill him. And
that's what I'm saying. At least he's smart enough to pick the guns up, and then he just fucking massacres everyone, and that's pretty cool. But the movie we're watching is cool for the movie we're watching. It wouldn't be cool in any other movie.
Yes. No, if this was in Jason Bourne or Bond, you're like, what the fuck is happening? Like, why is this happening? Why is he just calmly walking down the middle of this dangerous hallway that's headed to Tijuana, Mexico, which is probably run by a cartel? And he's just like, I don't fucking care. I got nothing to live for. I got to look up at the stars. I can't see them. The only way to look up is to kill these motherfuckers. This was going to happen. I made that better than it was.
But, so... That was the scene that, well, it all led up to, because you're sort of thinking, man, something better happened at the end of this movie. And so at least something did,
Well, we had another problem where, we get to the top and he finally catches up to those people. He's got 4 shots. So, of course, we all know how that's going to end, right? 4 shots. They're going to all land. But he's just sitting behind, once again, this cardboard, it seems like in the one we saw. And bullets are coming. He's calmly sitting behind it. As if he's been to war before. Like, I was at Iwo Jima. There's a bunch of pussies on this side. It's nothing. I crawled through men's entrails.
I mean, come on. We know what movie we're watching.
I know.
I'm not thinking any of them things when I'm watching it, because I know this is a piece of shit.
I am. I was already out of it.
I was out of it before I pressed play. So anything after that.
I'm starting to think that people are intentionally spiking the Rotten Tomatoes, because the critics gave it a 23. And this is our 3rd movie in a row where it's over 70. The audience score on this film is 86.
Something's wrong.
There's no fucking way.
Something's rotten in Denmark.
People are just spamming this. There is no way this is an 86. Not even fucking close. But I heard some of the reviews and I thought, okay, maybe, maybe this is going to be better than than advertised. Maybe it's going to be, we're going to get a surprise. I was thinking, man, we might have 2 movies early on. They're going to be up for the movie of the year already. I'm like, wow, that hasn't happened since season 1. Press play, it looks good, and then we get to where they were murdered, and I was like, oh, fuck, this is the movie we're in. But then when they said that they died of broken necks, I was like, well, that's it for me. So I think that was 5 minutes into the film. 5 or 6 minutes in, they had that interview.
If my movie watching past has taught me anything, I read reviews for movies after I've seen the movie, especially with a site like Letterboxd. Most of these fucking reviewers
don't know their ass from their elbows.
For the most part. There's some funny ones.
There's a reason people went to school for this. There's a reason people went to school for film critique. And not just, hey, I'm John, I'm sitting here drinking a bud. Fuck this movie.
And there's those with such a high opinion of themselves. And you're a fucking nobody.
You're not like us.
You make it all
We're
about.
professionals.
Well, no, I mean they make it. Well, no, but they make it all about themselves, is what I'm saying. And we're like, who the fuck are you? But what I tend to do these days, because if I listen to these reviews, I wouldn't probably watch most things because the reviews are so fucking bad. But so I kind of went into this. I didn't know what it was about, and I hadn't read any reviews. I'm certainly not saying that makes the film better. But I think my expectations are set very low for any of these Bruce movies, so I can be occasionally surprised because I've kind of ignorance is bliss kind of situation. But this was one of the toughest yet, and it made me think. While I was watching it, I was thinking about the setup, the Ryan Philippe one, which now seems like fucking Goodfellas, right? Like it was weak. It was
really
weak.
Does.
But if you look back,
Bruce had his faculties still.
Yeah, but not just
he was funny in it. I think we even gave him a Bruce in that movie.
But even still, in comparison, that had a lot more going for it than this. I
know. Those are the hell. We didn't know we had.
No, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But now we're in no man's land. We're in no man's land now.
We have one more movie to corrective measures, and that's the movie that Sean, at the beginning of the season. No, it was the midway point. Sorry, he was on our midway point last year.
Right.
When we hit 20. Yeah. He told us, hey, you got that movie coming up. And that was a year away, actually. That's exactly what it was. And so we're getting close to it. We have one more, and after that...
Let's give a shout-out to Sean, who definitely isn't listening to this podcast.
No, yeah, he listened when he was on Smartly. He went through this journey. Why does he want to bring him... This PTSD, he's got to go through therapy? We'll be reaching out to him in like a year because we have 1 year to go. We have reached the year mark. We have 1 year. We have 12 to go. We have 1 more year left of doing this, and then it's done. So we've put in 2.5, and we're getting close.
there. We're
getting there. Yeah, I am looking forward to corrective measures. I'll be honest.
I'm looking forward. I always look forward to the movies.
I saw the trailer. I know I shouldn't have, but I did. I was like, this feels campy. It feels fun. Yeah. This could be another one of those. All right, I'm in. He might be right.
But we've come so far now that.
Oh, I mean, we're almost there. You can smell the finish line.
Absolutely. So I'm always.
Smells like a pile of hot shit. But still,
I'm always excited.
We can smell it.
I'm always, because you certainly don't know.
Well, we've got a trilogy that he's in. He was barely in this movie 5 minutes. He's supposed to be the star of 3 movies in a row? That's going to be a gargantuan feat. I don't know how he's going to pull this off.
Who can say, really? But I'm always excited, though, because I'm always like, even if it sucks, that's how much that's going to suck. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. There's true. How much suckage will there be?
If you've got a very wide taste in movies, however bad these movies are, they don't set out to make a bad movie. They're trying.
True.
They've just got very limited means. So I'm always a little bit like forgiving.
True. Yeah.
But then sometimes effort, just a little bit of effort wouldn't kill you.
Also, sometimes don't be taking advantage of somebody just because of their name. Like, I'm sorry, there's no fucking way these guys didn't know at this point that there was something wrong with Bruce.
But we don't know that.
I know, but man, when you're giving an actor who in his heyday made some unfucking believable films, he has to wear an earpiece that you still can't hide, but he has to wear an earpiece to get fed his lines. People are telling him from his camp that they got to cut down the lines. Like, why are we still putting him in the movie? There's got to be someone else out there you could have slid in for these films that you would have got more out of it.
I mean, granted, that's pretty unforgivable. We don't know the behind the scenes of the Bruce Willis camp. We're probably fully aware of this, but that was just about money at this point.
Look, I don't blame them trying to get the money, but at the same time, as a movie maker, you gotta be like, why are we even putting him on the the poster. It should just be a cameo. He's cameoing in most of these movies now.
Yeah. Well, this is it.
The person making the most money is whoever they keep hiring to be the back of his head, which I'm still stunned at. I don't understand that. We're at the same place. How can we not do the back of it? That's the easiest thing for to do. Bruce, walk
Just need any old
forward.
bald
How hard can
fuck.
that be? How about this? Let's take a picture of the back of his head and see if we can't find someone who has a head a little bit like that.
You'd
I mean,
think.
it's not as bad as the fucking Goonies head we had, but good Lord.
This is what I'm talking about, is that the lack of effort is my problem. You know, Devon Sawa is, you know, he's really given it as much as he can, but you don't get an actor like him very often in these movies. You know, so
True.
It's really going to come down to, as we go forward, I think, who's in this movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take Bruce out of the equation. Who's actually in this movie?
Who's going to help carry this film?
Who's going to carry this movie? So if you've got a Thomas Jane or a Jason Patrick or a Devon Sawa, yeah, okay. Because a lot of these Bruce Willis movies are on Prime for free, and they've obviously, that's their intention, is to get these on a streaming. You know, look, we've got a name actor, at least one name actor in these movies, and the streaming price, you know, that we'll get gives us all a fucking wage, and they don't give a fuck about the movie, unfortunately. But that's where we are at this particular moment. But like I say, it's beginning to me to look a bit like, right, so who's in this movie with Bruce? Because that is going to be the deciding factor. Devon Sawa was kind of a surprise because I haven't seen him in a lot. But like I said, I did see a movie called Hunter x Hunter with him in it a couple of years ago, and that was actually very, very good. You know, you got Michael Rooker in.
We got a couple people. We got him. We got John Malkovich coming up in some of the films. So
this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
So that's going to be the decider for us. If you get if it's Bruce Willis and some soap opera actor we've never heard of, we might be in trouble, or more trouble than we're in with these decent actors.
Yeah.
But hey, we shall see. We shall see.
Am I the only suspect?
Person of interest.
So, Star, I'm assuming she was a working girl.
Yeah,
Did she make you an offer?
of course she did.
Did you take her up on it, or did you try and bargain with her? And maybe when you tried to bargain with her, you kind of made her feel a little cheap. And then she said something nasty, and who knows, maybe that kind of hurt your feelings. And then you thought, hey, I'm really going to let her
It's
have
double
it.
fucking talk. Did you hook up with her?
Nah, I told her I was meeting with somebody after.
And who's that?
This girl that ran around with Christine. Are we done here?
No, so I'm just trying to get all this straight in my head. Maybe you can help me, boss.
Yeah.
So the bar, it closes at 2:30. That gives you 45 minutes to kill them, stage them, then mosey on over to this Christine girl. And you asked, did they suffer? Their necks were broken, all four of them. Of course, that's not real difficult when you got four helpless girls all whacked out on junk and blow and God knows what else. Now, the only suspect description we got is of a Caucasian shit kicker. You seen any of those lately?
Get the fuck out of my shop.
I actually think we're done here, and we probably don't need to tell you this, but don't leave the country. Hell, don't leave the county. We can haul you in on a Ramey warrant anytime, okay? So, yeah, you're still a suspect. Got it? Don't worry. If you get found guilty, we'll walk you down to the electric chair ourselves. It's like that old gospel number, you'll never walk alone. Let's hit it, boss.
All right, it's now time for our final thoughts on this bad boy. And we start with
Favorite scene.
For me, it's probably going to be the same as yours. There's not a whole lot to champion in the film. A couple of dialogue moments in that, but I think the best scene for me, it is Sawa arriving to the building to go into the tunnel where he smashes the guy's head in the door all the way through the tunnel where he takes him out. So that whole tunnel sequence for me was the one part of the movie I was like, okay, I appreciated especially the door in the head. I was like, okay, we haven't seen this kind of brutality from the films yet. So it feels like that's where maybe Drake likes to lean towards, is that kind of dark brutality minus the comedy. There was very little comedy in this film outside of us making fun of how it was made. So for me, I'm going to go tunnel shootout. I think that really piqued my interest at the end and helped me wake up and finish that last 20 minutes of the film.
I concur completely with you there. I was actually, when he smashes that guy's head in the car door, and basically, 5 or 6 times, and he gets face splattered blood, and I'm like, yeah, we're heading in the right direction. And like you said, from that moment till the sort of the end shootout with Bruce, through the tunnel is pretty decent, really. As good as you're going to get in a STD movie. So yeah, that was kind of like a couple more of those throughout the movie would have really, because they did that well. That was well done, well enough. That was well enough done. You know.
No, for what it is, yes. I know what you mean.
If you'd had a couple more scenes like that throughout the movie, maybe that would have helped. But that scene alone kind of was, it made it all worthwhile.
Best one-liner.
Next up, best one-liner. There was a couple. One of my favorite comes to us from Detective Vargas when he first comes into the shop and the honey with the breast is going to get a tattoo. He goes, her tramp stamp will have to wait. What are you getting, darling? A unicorn? That I laughed. I thought, all right, that was good. There we go. Hey, nothing like a little misogyny. All right, hey, everybody's happy. Other than that, there's a couple others, but nothing that really sticks out. Like normally, we have a couple of choice ones when we have a large and Drake production, but not this time around, unfortunately. How about for you, sir?
I didn't really have any. There's just a bit where they discuss when Jimmy Jane is discussing with someone why these women were killed, and the guy says, "Well, difficult women make bad hookers," and I thought that's a guilt. That's
not wrong.
The kind of guilty pleasure of a line where I thought
Steve looked down at his who and he goes, "Hey, see here, honey? See what I'm saying right there?
Now
I'm
listen.
dealing
with over you." No, that's a terrible line, and that's just one of the many terrible lines. And really, that was it. There were no lines, but that stayed with me a little bit because I just thought, Jesus, this is the level we're dealing with here.
Best performance.
Best performance. I mentioned this gentleman earlier, and I'm going to stick with him. Billy Jack Harlow as Roy. I really, really enjoyed him. He was a stunning surprise, a side character that just came out of nowhere and wasn't just like some dolt they pulled off the fucking streets and threw into this movie. I really enjoyed him in this. I thought he was so believable. I actually thought maybe Billy Jack Harlow truly was a mechanic who had guns he could sell you. And they just like put him in the movie and be yourself. So I liked Billy Jack Harlow. Well done, sir. You are now immortalized on the Arrow 4K for this amazing performance. Who do you have there for your best performance?
Best performance. I mean, Devon Sawa is just he deserves better. He's great in this. He really goes for it, and I really liked him. I really liked the guy. It kind of made me feel a little bit sort of sorry for him, and not sorry for him, but it's just a shame that he hasn't had a better career. I think he's a great actor, actually. Everything I've seen him in, I haven't seen him in a lot, but everything I've seen him in, he's been really good. And, he was like a kid. When he was in Final Destination, he was a kid.
He was, yep.
And to see him now looking a bit more grizzled and kind of badass, I think he was great. And I think he did a really good job as Jimmy Jane. And I think, he gave the best performance of the movie. So that's got to be, Devon Sawa.
Sawa, hey.
Sweet and sour.
Nothing catch you to go with it.
I got nothing.
Hey, sweet and sour tits over there. Get over here, you piece of shit. There's your Final Destination.
My boss.
Favorite character.
All right, favorite character. You know what? I'm going to stick with him. I'm going to stick with Billy Jack. I liked Roy. I liked Roy a lot. Roy was a breath of fresh air. Now, I'm going to be honest. I was falling asleep in the movie, and Roy woke me up. I enjoyed him because, it's the old trope. We had the grizzled old man under a car. We got sour talking, a little trash, this little pipsqueak fuckface actor. And he comes over to make sure everything's okay. And you're thinking, okay, here we go. We're a big tough guy. We're going to fight him. Okay, we got to show how Sour's a tough guy. And then all of a sudden, Roy turns into this really cool guy who's just kind of like there to help a brother out. And I was like, all right, you know what? I like fucking Roy. And I wanted him in the film more. I think it would have been great if he was a sidekick. I just think it would have been awesome. I think it would have been more fun. Plus, he was a big dude.
Yeah, that was a missed opportunity, that was a real missed opportunity.
Big time. Yep. So Roy is in. He may even be for a supporting actor coming in here. We don't know yet.
Ooh.
Look, I'm just saying, there's not a lot to mine from, I'm thinking, this year. So, when we find some nuggets, we may have to hold on to them preciously and hold on to them dearly because they might slip through our fingers and we got nothing but sand and shit. So, who do you got for favorite character? I think I know where you're going, but go there anyways.
Yeah, no, it's Jimmy Jane. I mean, it's all Jimmy Jane. It's Jimmy Jane's movie. He's a decent loser character who's like you said, in the tunnel. I got nothing to live for. I'm gonna but he's cracked the case, isn't he? And he's killing everyone. And I'm like,
Yes.
that's what you want.
You know, it's funny because Bruce Willis and did you ever think about going into police work? I was like, you know what? I think you should now. He's a shit tattooist. I tell you what.
Yeah, he's a better cop than he is a fucking tattooist. Oh, you.
Right.
But no, I think Jimmy James is a great character. I could watch a sequel with this guy. You know, I could if they.
Hey, whoa, pause! Don't you dare put that in the universe, you son of a bitch. They'll AI Bruce in, and we'll have to do one more episode. You piece of shit!
Just
Don't
saying.
you dare!
I'm saying.
Actually, they can't. Bruce died in this film. It's over with.
Oh,
Can't bring Bruce back, so we don't have to watch it.
Did he?
Did he?
Just at the
Did
end.
he? They're gonna bring him into this film?
Oh shit! No, now we're talking. But no, yeah, you know, Jimmy James is the dude. I liked him.
The moment of truth.
Did Mr. Willis drop a deuce or a Bruce? I will jump in on this. Folks, if my partner says anything different than this, he may have aphasia as well, but there is no way a man who seems to be stumbling into the scene, unaware of what the scene's about, and barely in the film for more than 5 minutes, and when he's in it, he doesn't elevate it, and when he's gone, you don't miss him. Mr. Willis, I'm sorry to say, I don't know if it's his worst performance because he's so not there. He's barely there. It's his most underused performance for sure. It's probably up there in his top 5 worst, but I'm going to give him a deuce. There's no way to give this anything but a deuce for him, in my opinion. There's nothing you can point to where you go, well, like that one movie, he woke up as the movie went along and he got better. And we're like, you know what? For that, he's a Bruce. He did none of those things. So, a deuce.
He most definitely dropped a deuce.
Oh, I have to agree. Midnight in the Switchgrass was the movie that he'd done the least in, and I felt like that was the bottom of the barrel. But I didn't think it was possible that he could do less in a film. And
The only way he could have done less if he didn't show up. If he just wasn't in the movie, that's the only way he could have done less.
It's this film is more disappointing that he's in it than if he wasn't. So yeah, I didn't think he could do less, and I was wrong. He literally just says the occasion. He doesn't give the occasional line. He says the occasional word, and that word is yeah.
It wasn't supposed to end like this.
I think that was the only
You're like,
line
all right.
he gave in the movie.
Pay me. Make sure I get my money.
You're giving him more credit than he deserves. But yeah, so for me, this is a deuce, man. This is a big one.
He most definitely dropped a deuce.
It's unfortunate, but I think this could be the season of the deuce. I'm having a real tough time thinking otherwise. Now, as far as is this movie a Bruce or a deuce? Sad to say, but we got us another deuce in this one. I was hopeful. How about this? I think it's a better film than the one we saw last month.
No question.
But that's not saying a lot.
No.
I think it's a better film than the one we saw last month. But unfortunately, for me this month, this is a Roadhouse. We get a double deuce. Bruce is a deuce. The film is a deuce. And there are people actually, you know, like you said, Sal was trying. There are people trying. Just the plot makes absolutely no sense. It takes, it's a 97-minute movie, and it takes damn near 90 minutes for anything exciting to really happen. And that's a long fucking slog. You can't pin the last 3 minutes of your film on your film as that's what people are going to come back for. So for me, I give it a Roadhouse this month, a double deuce, a deuce for Bruce and a deuce for the movie.
This film was definitely dropped a deuce.
Mr. Smith, your say.
Yeah, no, I have to agree. This is a deuce. And look, Devon Sawa's great. His character is great. The character that you mentioned, and Luke Wilson too, is decent. It's just not enough. However good that they couldn't polish a turd in this case. This is better than American Siege, which we saw last time, right?
Yep, we saw last month. Yep.
Only just. It is elevated. It is elevated by a decent cast, but
better performances. The cast from American Siege was dog shit. In my opinion, it's the second worst movie we've seen, only beating Out of Death. It's the only thing that I think is worse than that is Out of Death.
This film was definitely dropped a deuce.
So yeah, unfortunately, I'm still hanging in there for a few
2 months. 2 months. I know whoever's listening to this still 2 months. Corrective measures will hopefully bring it up because next month, now that this one has given us a Roadhouse, a double deucer, we got A Day to Die. We'll see if that is something. We'll hope and pray that a day to die will bring us good luck, or else we're going to feel like today is a good day to just put this thing to bed, and we too will want a day to die as well.
So listen, a day to die, we've got Kevin Dillon, who's decent. He's decent.
Am I seeing Frank Grillo as well on this picture?
We've got Frank Grillo.
Frank Grillo.
Johnny Mesner's back on the scene.
Okay.
So I'm hopeful.
Yeah,
It's
right.
directed by
Yeah.
Wes Miller, who hasn't done anything of any of note. But you know what? I'm gonna, we'll see.
It's a heist action film is what it says.
So only the savage
So
survive.
well, that's hopeful. Only the savage survive. So we're hopeful
We'll
that
see.
this time next month, at least something will happen that we're at least excited. So maybe, hopefully, Frank Grillo's got to be in it longer than his last film. He's got to be in it longer than Cosmic Sin.
Frank Grillo and Kevin Dillon. Look, this is what I'm saying. That got to give you a glimmer of hope, at least.
I'm hoping.
Me too. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. We'll see you motherfuckers next month. And that will do it for our 20th episode. Please feel free to reach out to us on the show's socials, which can be found in the show notes. And tell us what you thought about this film, how you feel about Bruce as an actor, or even to let us know what you think about the podcast. We'd also greatly appreciate it if you give the show a like, leave us a review, and follow the show on the Last of the Action Heroes Podcast Network, where you can find other amazing podcasts dedicated to such iconic action stars as Stallone, Lundgren, Van Damme, Schwarzenegger, and Seagal. The link to the network can also be found in our show notes. So won't you please join us again next month as Steve and I pull our Willis Winnebago over to review 2022's action thriller, A Day to Die. So until then.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
This has been a Man with an Exceptional Beard production.